Now that I'm not just talking about trains on this channel, but about mass transit in general, I'm going to now propose some bus lines for the LA area that have some features of Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT, in addition to all of my train proposals. And the first proposal for a line with some BRT features may surprise you. Most of this bus line would run along West 3rd Street. Now, you may be thinking, why? Why West 3rd Street? Why not Sunset Boulevard? Or Western Avenue? Or Beverly Boulevard? Here's why. The ridership is extremely high for the bus line on West 3rd Street, which is line 16. It has quite possibly the highest bus ridership of any corridor that I do not envision giving rail transit to in my plans for the LA area. Now, I'm not sure ridership is going to be quite this high once the D line extension to Westwood is done, given that the D line is only about half a mile south of West 3rd Street. But I still think ridership will be quite healthy, and healthy enough to justify a line with some features of bus rapid transit. So, what will this line look like? The northern/western terminus would be at San Vicente Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard. This would be right by the Sunset Strip. And given that this route is going to serve some nightlife, this would be a 24-hour route, so that people don't have to drive after a night out. This line would then go along San Vicente Boulevard, and the next stop would be at San Vicente Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard. Among other things, there'd be a connection to Line 4, which is another heavily used bus line. Perhaps even more importantly, if the San Vicente Fairfax alignment on the K line is built, this stop would offer a direct connection to the K line. The next stop would be at San Vicente Boulevard and Beverly Boulevard. This would intersect with a lot of other transit routes. Just as important, if not more so, is the fact that it would serve the Cedar Sinai Medical Center, which is a major center of employment in the area. South of this stop, the route would turn onto West 3rd Street. The first stop along West 3rd Street would be at Fairfax Avenue, thus providing another bus route connection, as well as a connection to offices and commercial areas. The following stop would be at La Brea Avenue. This is yet another stop in a commercial area. I'd then have a stop at Western Avenue, where there's a transfer point with line 207 and line 210. As a side note, the ridership for line 207 on Western Avenue is extremely high. High enough that I'll need to think about what sort of transit improvements to propose for the Western Avenue corridor. There'd then be a stop at Normandy Avenue. It hasn't been that long since the previous stop, but what can I say? The ridership on line 206, the bus line on Normandy Avenue that this route would intersect with, is actually pretty solid. This stop also serves an area with extremely high population density, as there are census tracts around there that have 60,000 to 80,000 people per square mile. I'd then have a stop at Vermont Avenue. Despite the B line going underneath this intersection, the stop wouldn't offer a transfer with the B line. Instead, it would offer a transfer with Vermont Avenue bus lines. Very important, as it is the busiest bus corridor in LA's system. I'd have a stop at Alvarado Street. It would intersect here with Line 2. Line 2 is also yet another high ridership bus. You may be noticing a pattern of me putting Metro Rapid stops where it intersects with high ridership buses. However, I'm about to break this pattern. Big time. I'd have a stop at West 3rd Street and Union Avenue, which doesn't have a bus except for the local Line 16. Furthermore, it is only 3/10 of a mile away from the West 3rd and Alvarado stop. So why do I have a Metro Rapid stop here at all? Here's why. The stop is in the middle of the most population dense part of LA, with census tracts approaching 90,000 people per square mile. And, despite this area being home to quite possibly the most densely populated American census tracts not located in New York City, it's not close to a train stop. This wouldn't be a train stop, of course, but adding some Metro Rapid coverage here would help. I want you to think about whether there are rail solutions that would work for this part of LA, as population density is just way too high to not be served by rail. But that's a topic for a separate video, quite possibly. This line would then turn onto Bixel Street and then 6th Street. At Bixel Street and 6th Street, there'd be another stop. Density of development is also wild near this stop. Except here, it's not just housing, but also office buildings. Having a Metro Rapid stop here would further improve transit access in an area that has no direct rail access. In downtown LA, the eastbound buses go on 6th Street, while the westbound buses go on 5th Street. Both streets would have a stop at Grand Avenue, which would serve as a transfer point to all of the LA Metro Rail trains that run through downtown LA. Next, both 5th and 6th Streets would have a stop for this line at Broadway. This stop would be near the Pershing Square stop for the B and D lines. There would then be a stop at Main Street and both 5th and 6th Streets. Last, but definitely not least, both 5th and 6th Streets will have stops at San Pedro Street. San Pedro Street is also the street that this route would use to go from running eastbound to running westbound. And that is my first Metro Rapid bus route proposal for the LA area. Before giving my thoughts on this line, I want to ask people to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more thoughts on imagining better mass transit in the United States. Make sure to also leave a comment in the comment section below if you have thoughts on this proposed line. Given the image that you just saw related to this route's last stop, I think we need to start by addressing the elephant in the room. The fact that this route is going to Skid Row, where there is a large unhoused population. And that portion of the Metro Rapid route may attract some controversy. To be clear, adding further Metro Rapid service to Skid Row is intentional. It is an economic justice issue. Improved transit improves access to social services and jobs, things that lift people out of homelessness and poverty. And, despite that fact, the only thing even close to rapid transit of any kind in this area is the Metro Rapid Line 720. Otherwise, the closest LA Metro rail station to the proposed 6th and San Pedro stop is 7/10 of a mile away. Not good at all. Additional Metro Rapid service would therefore be helpful. Also, I should add that because improved transit access to social services and jobs is so important for those in poverty, this will almost certainly not be the last time that I will talk about improving transit access to the Skid Row neighborhood. Look at my proposed route more broadly. While the ridership is there for bus rapid transit, the space is not. For much of the route, West 3rd Street has 2 eastbound lanes and 2 westbound lanes. Having a strictly separated bus lane on each side of the street would cut the number of travel lanes for cars in half. A really tough ask in car-centric LA. Especially on a street that, in parts, doesn't have any good alternatives. A potential middle ground might be something called tactical transit lanes, or bus lanes put in limited areas where the bus is the slowest. Said tactical transit lanes could even include high occupancy vehicles. Because of the relative lack of space on West 3rd Street, as well as the lack of alternatives to traveling on West 3rd Street, I think that the Metro Rapid designation is more practical for this corridor than full-blown bus rapid transit. A Metro Rapid that I think can still have transit signal priority, off-board fare payment, bus platforms for ease of boarding for people with mobility limitations, and limited stop service. These things combined, for an express stop version of Line 16, would transform a lot of people's travel and a lot of people's lives. And these are all changes that you can implement on this proposed line, for a cost that wouldn't be outrageously high. For as much as I love proposing new train lines, I think there's also a benefit to proposing less expensive, yet still significant, transit improvements. Implementing a line like this would result in one other change. It would ensure the future of Metro Rapid. As I said in a previous video, all the Metro Rapid routes that currently exist are slated for rail, in part or in whole, at some point in the future. This is definitely not the case with West 3rd Street, meaning that if you have Metro Rapid on this street, it would result in Metro Rapid being around for the long haul. Assuming, of course, that Metro doesn't go through another of its phases of cutting Metro Rapid lines.